Hello, everyone. Imagine getting a call from your sister, sobbing that your father has passed away and left everything to her in his will. You're stunned, trying to process the news, until you realize the man she's mourning is sitting right across from you, alive and well, sipping coffee in your kitchen. What would you do? Would you reveal the truth right away, or let the secret unfold in ways that change your family forever? Stick around for this story of deception, family secrets, and a twist that questions everything you know about trust and legacy. If you enjoy tales like this that dive into the unexpected sides of family bonds with heart and suspense, make sure to subscribe right now. It really helps the channel grow. And drop a comment below. Where are you listening from? And has anything similar ever happened in your life? Let's get started. My name is Michael Reynolds, and this all began in our family home in a quiet suburb of Denver, Colorado. I'm in my mid-40s, married to my wife Anna for 20 years. We have a son, Tyler, who's 17 and obsessed with cars, and a daughter, Sophie, 15, who's all about her art classes. I work as a civil engineer for the city, planning roads and bridges. Steady job, good benefits. Anna's a part-time librarian, the kind of woman who remembers everyone's birthday and always has a pot of soup ready for neighbors in need. Life's been good to us, predictable, comfortable, the way you hope it stays in your 40s. My sister, Lisa, is 3 years younger. She's always been the dramatic one. Works in real estate in Phoenix, Arizona, married to a guy named Greg who's in sales. They have no kids, just a big house with a pool and vacations to places like Hawaii every year. Lisa and I talk every couple of weeks, mostly about Mom and Dad, since Mom passed 5 years ago from a long illness. Dad, Edward, was 82, a retired accountant who'd always been sharp with numbers but quiet about emotions. After Mom died, he lived alone in the old family house in Denver, the one Lisa and I grew up in. I checked on him weekly, mowed the lawn, fixed leaks, took him to doctor's appointments. Lisa called often, but visited maybe twice a year. It started one rainy Tuesday afternoon. I was at work, reviewing blueprints for a new overpass, when my phone buzzed. It was Dad. "Michael," he said, voice steady but low, "I need to see you. Can you come over after work?" "Sure, Dad. Everything okay?" "Just come, and don't tell Lisa." I felt a knot in my stomach. "All right, see you around 6. When I arrived, the house looked the same. Neat yard, porch light on. Dad opened the door before I knocked. He looked older than last week, thinner, eyes tired, but alert. "Come in," he said. "Coffee's on." We sat at the kitchen table, the same one where Lisa and I did homework as kids. Dad poured 2 mugs, black like always. "Son," he began, "I have something to tell you, but first, promise you won't overreact." I nodded. "Promise." He took a deep breath. "I'm not well. The doctor says it's my heart. Could be months, could be longer, but I don't want to wait around for it." My chest tightened. "Dad, what do you mean?" He held up a hand. "I'm not talking about ending things. I'm talking about living them, on my terms. I've got savings, more than you kids know. I've been thinking, I want to travel, see the world, before it's too late." I stared at him. "Travel? Alone?" He shook his head. "With you, if you'll have me. I want to stay at your place for a bit. Plan a trip. Just us men. Maybe take Tyler. But Lisa, she wouldn't understand. She'd worry, fuss, try to stop me." "Dad, that's not fair to her. We should tell her." He leaned forward. "Michael, Lisa's always been the one to take charge. If she knows, she'll have me in a home by week's end. I need time to think, to decide. Please." I looked at him, really looked. The man who taught me to ride a bike, who showed up at every dame, who quietly paid for my college when money was tight. He was asking for help, his way. "Okay," I said, "come stay with us. We'll figure out the rest." He smiled. First real smile I'd seen in months. "Thank you, son." We packed a small bag that night, essentials, clothes, his medications. I called Anna on the way home. "Honey, Dad's coming to stay for a while. Health stuff. I'll explain later." She didn't hesitate. "Of course, I'll make up the guest room." When we arrived, Dad hugged him like he was his own father. "Welcome, dinner's warming." Tyler and Sophie were curious but kind. "Grandpa, you staying over?" Dad nodded. "For a bit, if that's okay." "Cool," Tyler said. "We can work on that model car tomorrow." Sophie grinned. "And I can show you my new sketchbook." Dad's eyes lit up. "I'd like that." That first night, he slept soundly. The next morning, over breakfast, he looked rested. First good sleep in weeks. Anna smiled. "Stay as long as you need." The days passed easily. Dad helped Tyler with homework, listened to Sophie's stories, even joined me for walks in the park. We talked, really talked about Mom, his regrets, his dreams. "I always wanted to see the Grand Canyon," he said one afternoon. "My wife and I planned it, but never went." "We'll go," I promised. But we didn't tell Lisa. Dad asked me not to. "Give me a week to settle." I agreed, reluctantly. Then, exactly a week later, my phone rang. It was Lisa. "Michael," she sobbed, voice breaking. "Dad's gone. He passed last night. The neighbor found him this morning. Heart failure." My blood ran cold. I was in the kitchen, watching Dad play chess with Tyler at the table. "What?" I managed. She cried harder. "The lawyer called. Dad left everything to me. The house, the savings, all of it. I can't believe it. Why me? Why not you too?" I stared at Dad. He looked up, curious. "Lisa," I said slowly, "where are you?" "In Phoenix. I'm booking a flight now. Can you handle arrangements until I get there?" I swallowed. "Sure, but are you certain it's Dad?" She sniffled. "The neighbor identified him, said he collapsed in the living room. Paramedics confirmed." Dad's eyes widened. He mouthed, "Who?" "Lisa," I whispered. He went pale. "Okay," I told her. "Call when you land. We'll sort this out." I hung up. The room spun. "Michael?" Dad asked. "What's wrong?" I looked at him. "Lisa says you're dead, and you left everything to her." Tyler's jaw dropped. Anna walked in from the laundry room, towel in hand. "What?" Dad stared back. "I'm dead?" We sat in stunned silence. Then Dad stood slowly. "Call the neighbor, now." I dialed Mrs. Jenkins, the widow next door who'd known Dad for decades. She answered on the second ring. "Michael? Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." "Mrs. Jenkins, what happened? Lisa said Dad passed." I sighed. "I found him this morning, collapsed on the floor. Looked just like your father. Same build, same clothes. Paramedics took him away. Heart attack, they think." Dad grabbed the phone. "Evelyn, it's Edward." Silence. Then she gasped. "Edward? But you're dead." Dad chuckled weakly. "Apparently not. Who did you find?" She stammered. "He looked like you. Gray hair, your old sweater. I thought, oh dear." Dad's face hardened. "Call the police. Tell them it's not me." We spent the next hour piecing it together. Police arrived at Dad's house, then called us. "Mr. Reynolds, we need you to come identify the body." Dad went pale but nodded. "Let's go." At the morgue, the coroner pulled back the sheet. The man looked eerily like Dad. Same age, same build, even wearing Dad's old clothes from the closet. But it wasn't him. "Who is he?" Dad asked. The detective shook his head. "No ID, but we'll run fingerprints." As we left, Dad turned to me. "Michael, I think I know who that is." I stared. "Who?" He sighed. "My brother, your uncle, the one I haven't seen in 40 years. The room tilted. Uncle? Dad never mentioned a brother. Little did I know, that body in the morgue was just the beginning of a family secret that would unravel everything and force Lisa and I to question who our father really was.
Part 2. The drive from the morgue back to my house was silent, except for the hum of the engine and the occasional sniffle from Dad. He sat in the passenger seat, staring straight ahead, hands clasped tight in his lap. Anna had taken the kids home earlier. They didn't need to see this. When we pulled into the driveway, the porch light was on, warm against the cold night. Dad didn't move at first. "Michael," he said finally, voice rough. "That man, it was my brother, Harold." I turned off the ignition. "Your brother? Dad, you've never mentioned a brother." He nodded slowly. "I haven't, not in 40 years. Harold and we had a falling out. Bad one. He left town, cut all ties. I thought he was gone for good. Dead, maybe. I never looked." I stared at him. "And now he's in the morgue, wearing your clothes, in your house?" Dad closed his eyes. "Someone put him there. Someone who wanted it to look like me." The front door opened. Anna stepped out, arms wrapped around herself against the chill. "Everything okay?" Dad got out slowly. "No, Anna, it's not." We went inside. The kids were in the living room, watching TV with the volume low. Sophie looked up. "Grandpa, you okay?" He forced a smile. "Just tired, sweetheart. Go to bed. We'll talk tomorrow." They hesitated but went upstairs. Anna made tea, her automatic response to crisis. We sat at the kitchen table. Dad spoke first. "Harold was my twin, identical. Same height, same build, same gray hair by the end. We were close growing up. Then money happened. Our parents left us the house and some savings. Harold wanted to sell it, take the cash, start over somewhere else. I wanted to keep it, raise my family there, like Mom and Dad did." He took a shaky breath. "We fought. Ugly. He accused me of being selfish. I accused him of running from responsibility. He left that night. Never came back. Never wrote. I heard rumors he went west, maybe California. That was it." Anna set mugs in front of us. "So someone dressed him in your clothes? Put him in your house?" Dad nodded. "Someone who knew we looked alike. Someone who wanted the world to think Edward Reynolds died." I leaned forward. "Why?" Dad looked at me. "Because someone wants the estate, and they think if I'm dead, it goes to Lisa." My stomach twisted. "The will? Lisa said everything goes to her." Dad rubbed his face. "I never changed the will after Mom died. It still says equal shares to both of you. But if one of you thinks the other is the only heir," I finished the thought, "they fight, or one disappears, or worse." Anna's eyes widened. "You think someone staged this to make Lisa believe she inherited everything?" Dad nodded. "And if she believes I'm dead, she might start moving money, selling the house, making decisions, and whoever did this, they'll be waiting." I stood up. "We need to call Lisa right now." Dad shook his head. "Not yet. If we tell her, whoever's behind this will know the plan failed. They'll disappear, or worse." I stared at him. "Dad, she's grieving. She thinks you're dead." He looked pained. "I know, but if we bring her in now, we lose the advantage. We need to find out who did this first." Anna spoke softly. "Michael, he's right. If someone's watching, we need to be careful." I paced the kitchen. "So what do we do? Pretend you're dead? Let Lisa think she inherited everything?" Dad nodded slowly. "For now, let her come to Denver. Let her handle the funeral. We'll watch, see who shows up, see who asks about the money." I stopped pacing. "This is insane." "It's necessary," he said. "Someone went to a lot of trouble to fake my death. They had access to my house, my clothes. They knew about Harold, or found him. This isn't random." I sat back down. "Who could it be? Lisa?" Dad shook his head. "Lisa's many things. Dramatic, impulsive, but not cruel. Not this." "Then who?" He looked at me. "Someone who knows our family. Someone who knows the house. Someone who stands to gain." The room went quiet. Anna spoke first. "The neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins. She found the body." Dad frowned. "Evelyn's been next door for 30 years. She's family friend. But she was quick to call Lisa, not me." I remembered Mrs. Jenkins' voice on the phone, shocked but certain. She said she identified him. Same sweater, same build. Dad's eyes narrowed. My old gray sweater, the one I wore when I gardened. It was in the closet. I felt cold. Someone took it, dressed him in it. We sat in silence. Then Dad said, "Tomorrow we go back to the house, look for clues, see who comes around." Anna looked worried. "And Lisa?" "We let her come, let her grieve, let her think she's the heir, and we watch." I rubbed my temples. "This feels wrong." "It's the only way," he said. "If we tell her now, the person behind this vanishes. We lose our chance to find out who and why." I looked at Anna. She nodded slowly. "He's right, but we protect the kids. They don't know." "Agreed," Dad said. That night, I barely slept. I kept seeing the body on the slab, looking so much like Dad, thinking about Lisa crying on the phone, thinking about who could hate our family enough to stage a death. The next morning, Dad and I drove to his house, police tape still across the door. The detective met us there. "Mr. Reynolds, we ran prints. The deceased is Harold Reynolds, your brother. Cause of death, heart attack, no signs of foul play." Dad exhaled. "Thank you, but someone moved him here, dressed him in my clothes." The detective nodded. "We're investigating. Neighbors saw nothing unusual, no forced entry." Dad looked around. Someone had a key or knew where I hid the spare. The detective left us to look around. We walked through the house, everything in place except Dad's gray sweater missing from the closet, and a faint scuff mark on the living room floor, like something heavy had been dragged. Dad pointed. "That's where they found him, right in front of the fireplace." I knelt. "No blood, no struggle." "Heart attack," Dad murmured. "They waited for it, or caused it." We searched the house. Nothing missing, except the sweater, and one photo frame on the mantel, a picture of Dad and Mom, empty now. Dad stared at the blank frame. "Someone took it. Why?" I felt a chill. Proof, or a message. We left the house, locked it, and drove back in silence. When we got home, Lisa texted, "Flight booked, arrive tomorrow, need help with arrangements." Dad looked at me. "Tomorrow she comes, thinking I'm dead, thinking she inherited everything." I nodded. "And we pretend until we know who did this." He put a hand on my shoulder. "Thank you, son, for believing me." I met his eyes. "I believe you, but whoever did this, they're close, and they're watching." That night, as the house slept, I sat in the kitchen with the lights off, staring at my phone. Lisa's last message, "Can't believe he's gone. See you soon." I typed back, "We'll get through this. Love you." Then I deleted it, because tomorrow my sister would walk through that door, believing our father was dead, and I would have to lie to her face. Little did I know, the real shock wasn't her grief. It was what she would say next.
Part 3. Lisa's flight landed at Denver International at 2:17 p.m. the next day. I told her I'd pick her up alone, said Anna had a work meeting and the kids were at school. Truth was, I needed time with her before she walked into our house and saw Dad alive. The airport was busy, people rushing with suitcases and coffee cups. I waited at baggage claim, holding a paper cup of black coffee that had gone cold. When Lisa appeared on the escalator, she looked smaller than I remembered. Eyes red, hair pulled back in a messy knot, wearing the same black coat she'd worn to Mom's funeral 5 years ago. She saw me and hurried over. We hugged, long, tight, the way siblings do when grief hits hard. "I'm so sorry, Mike," she whispered into my shoulder. "I can't believe he's gone." I held her a second longer. "Come on, let's get your bag." We walked to the car in silence. She kept wiping her eyes. In the parking garage, she finally spoke. "The lawyer called again this morning, said Dad updated his will last year. Everything, the house, the savings, even the old cabin up in the mountains, goes to me. Nothing split, nothing for you. I don't understand." I started the engine.
We'll figure it out. She looked at me. You don't seem surprised. I kept my eyes on the road. I knew about the will. She turned sharply. You knew? And you didn't tell me? Lisa, it's complicated. Dad, he had his reasons. She stared ahead. Reasons to cut you out? After everything you've done? Driving him to appointments, fixing the roof, paying bills when he was short, and I get it all? I gripped the wheel tighter. He thought you needed it more. Your business has been struggling. Greg's job isn't stable. She laughed bitterly. So he punishes you for being responsible? That's not fair, Mike. No, I agreed. It's not. The drive home took 40 minutes. Lisa stared out the window, occasionally dabbing her eyes. When we pulled into the driveway, she took a deep breath. I don't know how I'm going to walk in there. Seeing his things, his chair, knowing he's never coming back. I parked, turned off the engine. Lisa, before we go in, there's something you need to know. She looked at me. What? I took a slow breath. Dad's not dead. Her face froze. What? He's inside, alive, healthy, sitting in the living room right now. She stared at me like I spoke in another language. Michael, the coroner confirmed. The neighbor identified him. I spoke to the funeral home this morning. I know, but the body they found wasn't Dad. It was his brother, Harold. Lisa's mouth opened, closed. Uncle Harold? The one who disappeared when we were kids? Yes. She shook her head. This is insane. You're lying. Or someone tricked us. No trick, I said. Come inside. See for yourself. She didn't move. If this is some kind of joke, it's not. She looked at the house. The porch light was on. Through the window, I could see Dad's silhouette in his recliner. Lisa opened the car door slowly. We walked up the steps. I opened the front door. Dad stood in the foyer. Anna was behind him, arms crossed, eyes worried. Lisa stopped dead. Dad? She whispered. Dad. He stepped forward. Lisa, honey. She stared. Then she ran to him, threw her arms around him, sobbing. You're alive! You're alive! Dad held her tight. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Anna closed the door behind us. The kids came down the stairs, Sophie first, then Tyler. They froze when they saw Lisa crying in Dad's arms. Sophie? Whispered. Aunt Lisa? Lisa pulled back, wiped her face. Hey, kids, I thought your grandpa was gone. Dad guided her to the couch. Sit, we have a lot to explain. We all sat, Lisa between Dad and me, Anna in the armchair, kids on the floor. Dad told the story, the doctor's diagnosis, his decision to travel, the fight with Harold 40 years ago, the body in the house. Lisa listened, eyes wide. When he finished, she looked at me. You knew? This whole time? I nodded. Since Tuesday. He asked me not to tell you. He wanted to find out who staged it. She turned to Dad. You let me think I was dead? You let me grieve? You let me plan a funeral? Dad looked down. I know. I was wrong. I thought if we told you right away, whoever did this would disappear. I wanted to catch them. Lisa's voice cracked. Catch them? Dad, I was buying plane tickets. I was calling funeral homes. I was crying to my husband that my father was gone. Dad reached for her hand. I'm sorry, Lisa. Truly. She pulled away. You could have trusted me. You could have called. Instead, you hid, like I wasn't part of this family. Dad's eyes filled. You are. You're my daughter. I was scared. Scared of losing control. Scared of dying without seeing the world. I made a mistake. Lisa stood up. I need air. She walked out the front door. I started to follow, but Anna put her hand on my arm. Give her a minute. Dad sank back into the couch. I hurt her, worse than I hurt you. I sat beside him. She'll come around. She's in shock. Sophie spoke quietly. Grandpa, why didn't you tell Aunt Lisa sooner? Dad looked at her. I was selfish. I wanted time. Time with you kids. Time to plan. I didn't think about how it would feel to her. Tyler frowned. But she's family. Dad nodded. Yes, and I forgot that family means trusting, even when it's scary. We sat in silence. Outside, Lisa paced the porch. After 10 minutes, she came back in, eyes red but calmer. I need to see the house, where they found Uncle Harold. Dad stood slowly. I'll take you. I drove them. Anna stayed with the kids. At Dad's house, police tape still up. We ducked under. Lisa walked through the rooms like she was seeing them for the first time. In the living room, she stopped at the spot where the body had been. He looked like you, she said to Dad. Exactly. Dad nodded. Someone knew that. Someone planned it. Lisa turned. Who would do this? Who gains? Dad looked at her. Someone who thinks you're the only heir. Someone who wants you to start selling, moving money, making decisions. Lisa's eyes narrowed. Greg. Dad and I looked at her. Greg, she repeated. Greg has been pushing me to ask Dad for money, for the business, for the house. He said Dad owed me, that you had enough. Dad's face hardened. Greg knew about Harold? Lisa shook her head. I never told him, but he knew the house was empty most days. He could have found someone. I pulled out my phone. We need to call the detective. Lisa nodded. And I need to call Greg, tell him I'm staying here for a while, see what he says. Dad put a hand on her shoulder. I'm sorry, Lisa, for all of it. She looked at him. You're alive, that's what matters. She hugged him, long, tight. When she pulled back, she looked at me. I'm sorry I believed the will meant you were cut out. I should have known better. I hugged her. We're family. We'll figure it out. That night, back home, Lisa stayed in the guest room. She called Greg, put him on speaker. Babe, you okay? When's the funeral? Lisa's voice was steady. Dad's alive, Greg. It wasn't him. Silence. Then, what? The neighbor said, it was Uncle Harold. Someone staged it. Greg laughed nervously. That's crazy. Who would do that? Lisa looked at me and Dad. Someone who wanted me to think I inherited everything. Someone who knew the house. Someone who wanted me to start selling. Greg's voice sharpened. Lisa, that's insane. Come home. We can talk. No, she said. I'm staying to help Dad and to find out who did this. Another pause. Babe, be careful. People do crazy things for money. Lisa ended the call. Dad looked at her. You think it's him? She nodded slowly. He pushed me to ask for money. He knew the house was empty. He has keys. He stayed here once when we visited. I felt cold. We need proof. Dad nodded. We get proof, quietly, and we protect this family. The next morning, Lisa called the detective, told him everything. He said they'd look into Greg, check phone records, travel history, access to the house. Meanwhile, Dad started planning. We need to draw him out, let him think the plan worked. Lisa nodded. I'll act like I believe you're dead, start talking to the lawyer, see what he does. I looked between them. This is dangerous. Dad put a hand on my shoulder. We've been in the dark too long. Time to turn on the light. That afternoon, Lisa met with the lawyer, pretending to grieve. She asked about the will, timelines, selling the house. I waited outside. When she came out, her face was pale. I said the will is ironclad, everything to me, and he asked if I planned to sell quickly. I stared. Who? The lawyer, but he was nervous, kept looking at his phone. Dad's voice on speaker. That's not the lawyer. That's someone pulling strings. We went home, planned next steps. But that night, my phone rang. Unknown number. I answered. A voice, low, disguised. Leave it alone, Michael, or next time it won't be a fake body.
Part 4. Lisa stayed with us that night. She took the guest room, same one Dad had been using. None of us slept much. I could hear her pacing at 2 a.m., then the soft sound of her crying. Dad sat in the kitchen until dawn, staring at his coffee. Anna held my hand in bed, whispering, "We'll get through this."
but the weight of it all pressed down like a storm cloud. The next morning, Detective Harlan arrived at the house. Tall man, graying temples, no-nonsense eyes. He sat at our kitchen table with a notepad and a recorder. "Tell me everything again," he said. Dad started. The doctor's diagnosis, his plan to travel, the fight with Harold 40 years ago, finding the body, Lisa's call, the fake death. Lisa added, "My husband, Greg, he knew the house was empty. He has a key. He used it once when we visited. He's been pushing me to get money from Dad, said we deserved it more than Michael." Harlan wrote notes. "Any proof?" Lisa shook her head. "Just conversations. He kept saying, 'Your dad's old, he won't need it.'" Harlan looked at Dad. "The body, your brother, was dressed in your clothes. Someone had access, and someone knew about Harold. Who else knew?" Dad thought. "No one. I never told anyone about Harold, not even the kids." I spoke up. "The lawyer. Lisa met him yesterday. He seemed nervous, asked if she planned to sell quickly." Harlan nodded. "We'll look into him. Name?" "Richard Klein," Lisa said. "Klein and Associates." Harlan jotted it down. "And the neighbor, Mrs. Jenkins, she identified the body. We'll re-interview her." He stood. "Stay quiet. Don't tell anyone Dad's alive. Not yet. If someone's watching, we want them to think the plan worked. Lisa, keep acting like you're grieving. Go to the house, look through papers, see who contacts you." Lisa nodded. "I can do that." Harlan looked at me. "You and your father stay out of sight. If someone sees him, the game ends." Dad agreed. "We'll be careful." After Harlan left, Lisa turned to Dad. "I need to see the house again, alone. If Greg or someone else is involved, they might leave clues." Dad hesitated. "It's dangerous." "I'll be fine," she said. "I need to do this." I drove her, parked a block away. She walked the rest of the way, looking every bit the grieving daughter, dark coat, sunglasses, head down. I waited in the car. 15 minutes, 20, 30. My phone buzzed. "Lisa, come now, quietly." I slipped through the back alley, ducked under the tape, entered through the kitchen door she'd left unlocked. Lisa stood in the living room, holding a small notebook. "Look," she whispered. The notebook was Dad's, old leather, pages filled with his neat handwriting, dates, numbers, bank accounts. But one page was new. "Harold contacted me last month, wants to reconcile. Meeting at the house Tuesday. Don't tell the kids." My blood ran cold. Tuesday, the day he died. Lisa flipped a page, and this, a bank transfer receipt, $50,000, from Dad's account to an account in Phoenix, dated 2 weeks ago. Lisa's hands shook. "That's Greg's business account. I recognize the number." I stared. "Dad gave Greg money?" She nodded. "But Dad never told me. And look, the transfer was after Dad supposedly died. No, wait, the date." She checked. 2 weeks ago, before the body. We heard footsteps upstairs. Lisa froze. "Someone's here." We moved silently to the hallway. Voices drifted down. "She's coming tomorrow. Act normal. Once she signs the papers, we move the money." I recognized the voice. Greg. Another voice, lower, unfamiliar. "And the old man, the real one?" Greg laughed. "Gone. Heart gave out. Perfect timing." Lisa's face went white. She grabbed my arm. We backed into the kitchen, slipped out the back door, ran to the car. Lisa was shaking. "He killed Dad, or thought he did." I started the engine. "We have proof now. The notebook, the transfer." We drove straight to the police station. Harlan met us in an interview room. Lisa told him everything, played the recording she'd secretly made on her phone, Greg's voice clear. Harlan listened. "This is enough for a warrant. We'll bring him in." That afternoon, Greg was arrested at the airport, trying to fly back to Phoenix. The police found the missing photo frame from Dad's mantle in his suitcase. Inside, a picture of Dad and Harold as young men. On the back, "Twins forever." Greg confessed quickly. He'd found Harold years ago, tracked him down in California. Harold was sick, broke, dying. Greg paid him to come to Denver, promised money. told him to wear Dad's clothes, wait in the house. Harold had the heart attack naturally. Greg staged the scene, called the neighbor anonymously, then flew home. He'd planned to have Lisa sell everything fast, take the money, leave her with nothing. But he didn't know Dad was alive, or that Lisa had recorded him. Dad sat with Lisa that night. They talked for hours, about Harold, about the past, about forgiveness. Lisa cried, "I thought you hated me, that you trusted Greg more." Dad held her hand. "I was wrong. I was scared. I love you both, equally, always." I watched from the doorway. Family, broken, mended, stronger. The next week, Greg was charged with fraud, identity theft, conspiracy. Harold's death ruled natural, but Greg's actions added years to his sentence. Dad rewrote the will. Equal shares, grandkids' trusts, a small fund for travel. He still wanted to see the Grand Canyon. Lisa moved back to Denver, sold her house in Phoenix, started a new real estate business here. She and Dad rebuilt their relationship, one honest conversation at a time. And me? I learned something too. Family isn't about who gets what. It's about who shows up, who tells the truth, who forgives even when it hurts. One evening, months later, Dad called me into the backyard. He had a small box. "Open it," he said. Inside, 2 tickets, Denver to Las Vegas, then a train to the Grand Canyon. "For us," he said. "You, me, Tyler. One last trip, before I'm too old." I hugged him. "I'd love that." He smiled. "And Lisa's coming too. All of us." I looked at the tickets. "All of us." He nodded. "Family, together, finally." And as the sun set over our quiet street, I realized sometimes the biggest secrets aren't about money. They're about love, about fear, about second chances. And when you face them together, there's nothing you can't survive. Thank you for listening to the whole story. If it touched you, if it reminded you that truth and forgiveness can heal even the deepest wounds, please subscribe, leave a comment with your country, and tell me, has a family secret ever brought you closer instead of tearing you apart? Take care of your people, speak honestly, love fiercely, because time is short and second chances are rare.
Part 5. Lisa moved back to Denver within the month. She sold her house in Phoenix quickly at a fair price and found a small condo 10 minutes from ours. Greg was in custody, facing charges that would keep him away for years. The lawyer, Richard Klein, was disbarred after evidence showed he'd accepted bribes to push Lisa toward fast sales. The money trail led back to him and Greg, $50,000 advance payment, promises of more once the estate cleared. Dad sat with Lisa on the porch swing the day she closed on her new place. They talked for hours about Harold, about the past, about forgiveness. I watched from the kitchen window while Anna made tea. "She's healing," Anna said softly. "Both of them are." I nodded. "We all are." The police closed the case quickly after Greg's confession. Harold had contacted Dad months earlier, sick, broke, dying of cancer. Dad sent him money quietly, hoping for reconciliation. Harold arrived in Denver unannounced, let himself in with the spare key Dad had never changed. He wore Dad's old sweater, sat in the living room, and had the heart attack alone. Greg, who'd been tracking Harold's movements through private investigators, saw the opportunity. He flew in, dressed Harold properly, staged the scene, and left before the neighbor found him. It was cold, calculated, and almost perfect. But Dad was alive, and that changed everything. We held a small family gathering 2 months later. No funeral, just a celebration. Dad's 80th Earth Day, delayed but meaningful. The backyard was lit with string lights. Tyler grilled burgers. Sophie played music from her phone. Anna brought wine and stories. Anna made her famous apple pie. Dad stood at the grill, spatula in hand, watching us all. When the food was ready, he called everyone to the table. "I want to say something," he began. We quieted. 40 years ago, he said, I lost my brother. I thought it was forever. Then he came back, only to leave again. But this time, I didn't lose him alone. I almost lost all of you. He looked at Lisa. I hurt you most. I let you grieve. I let you think I was gone. I was scared. Scared of dying without living first. Scared of being a burden. I was wrong. Lisa's eyes filled. You weren't a burden. You were my dad. Dad turned to me. Michael, you carried the weight. You kept secrets to protect me. You said no when I needed to hear it. Thank you. I swallowed hard. I love you, Dad. He looked around the table, at Anna, at the kids, at Lisa. I rewrote the will again. Equal shares. But there's more. I'm setting up trusts for the grandkids, and I'm giving each of you something now. Not money, memories. He pulled out 2 envelopes. Lisa, this is a deed. Half the cabin in the mountains. You always loved it there. She stared. Dad! And Michael, he said, handing me the second envelope, the other half, and tickets, for all of us. Grand Canyon, next summer, family trip, no excuses. The kids cheered. Lisa cried. I hugged Dad so hard he laughed. That night, after everyone left, Dad and I sat on the porch. I almost lost this, he said quietly, because I was afraid. I looked at him. You didn't lose it. You fought for it, in your way. He smiled. Your way was better. You stood firm. You protected what mattered. I shook my head. We all did. He put a hand on my shoulder. I'm proud of you, son. Always have been. I felt the weight of the last months lift, just a little. I love you, Dad. Love you too. We sat in silence, watching the stars. Months later, the trip happened. We flew to Vegas, then took the train to the Grand Canyon. Dad walked the rim slowly, cane in hand, but eyes wide. Lisa held his other arm. The kids ran ahead, laughing. Anna took photos. At sunset, Dad stood at the edge, wind in his hair. This, he said, is what I wanted. All of you, together. Lisa wiped her eyes. We're here, Dad. We're here. I looked at my family, my sister, my wife, my kids, my father. We'd survived lies, death that wasn't death, greed, fear, and we'd come out stronger. Because family isn't about who gets what. It's about who stays, who forgives, who chooses love even when it's hard, even when it's terrifying, even when it means saying no to protect what matters most. Thank you for listening to the whole story. If it reminded you that sometimes the biggest secrets hide the deepest love, please subscribe, leave a comment with your country, and tell me, has a family secret ever turned into something that brought you closer? Take care of the people who matter. Speak truth. Choose forgiveness. Because in the end, that's the only inheritance that lasts.